is, where we are in the information gathering portion of the investigation with the RCMP when you come across criminals like this doing criminal things, not being cooperative, but pretending and going through the motions and acting as though they're cooperative. There's a big difference. You could see this a mile away, but you still have to put the pieces together. You still got to go through the motions. And old Danny boy sat in front of the CBC and really leaked to us some of his approach, if you will. Only it was more ambiguous. See, Daniel feels that if he hasn't given you any of information, that there's nothing to hold against him. Talk about giving your illogical mind away. He continues to try to position himself out of what he really is in all of this, instead of any ounce of self-ownership and recognizing how suspicious he is. He just cowers away from that, just like you do, Durwood. What's going on, Silver Gold? Julia Hayden 9213. I think once Malaya comes to terms with everything, it takes a long time for DV survivors to open up and better themselves, and will take responsibility, and likely she'll get a lesser sentence. Yeah, I'm welcome. Listen, we'll get to that bridge when we get there. There is no doubt in my mind that Daniel and Janie are responsible for bringing harm at this point to Jack and Lily. And it's just a matter of time before that case builds so far that they're going to just, in a matter of 24 hours, things will completely change. It'll be classified something completely different. There'll be handcuffs. You know how it goes. The officers have had to deal with uncooperative individuals the entire way and still build a case. Something happened to Jack and Lily. They treat this situation as suspicious. They don't need a reminder. They know how suspicious it is. They just don't take what it is that Daniel tried to explain off, or Janie tried to explain off, as fact in any way. The fact that they're all apart at this point and there's conflict amongst them, and this is by all means an escalation in the disagreement that was already going on within the household to that point. And what that disagreement is going to be all the classical high mark factors. And what does all fights stem around? Money. There is all of the red flags in this situation, Sandra. The circus they invited us to because they don't ever shut up. Yeah. I guess. I mean, when we look back, it's going to be another interesting learning. Another interesting. Hold on. Like, you take a look at Daniel's face, even in the CBC's thumbnail, and you know the producers know that this guy is fucking guilty. Something on your mind there? Something on your mind there, Danny? They don't disappear into thin air on their own. People make that happen. Where did that go? Hold on. I closed you out. Sneeze hazard. They don't disappear into thin air on their own. People make that happen. That's where we were going with that. You're right. What's up, Mr. Hemi? How come I don't see you in here? But people, yeah, there you are. I see you. Where's our Janie cut? You ever need something to talk about in this case? Hey, creators out there who are looking to make content, get a hold of the 2.5-hour clip from who has it over there? A lot of people have it. Well, I guess you get in contact with me in the background and I can send you the audio file with all of Janie's statements.
And Lily off the school bus. And I'll never forget the expression on the bus driver's face when I took Meadow and said, here, watch her while I get Jack out of the seatbelt. He looked at me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if insurance is okay with that. Usually when you're picking your kids up off the school bus, you don't include the school bus driver to hold your kids for you and get your hands all over your precious children so that you can attend to another child. Isn't young Jack old enough to get himself out of his car seat and up out of the car when you're there? Why does this dude need to hold the baby for you, hold Meadow for you? Like, this is like a tweaker geographic moment. That's something like a tweaker would do, Janie.
Because I just said, you have to take Meadow so I can get Jack out of the seatbelt. And I got Jack out of the seatbelt, and I got Lily, and I took the baby from the bus driver, which is Brian Ward. He's a great guy.
What? Brian Ward is a great guy. So now you have a reason to include him in all of this. You know, she's using that. Chris McDonough loves to reference it, the SOG theory all of the time. When that moment in an interview or in the statement of a suspect, they always have to refer to some other guy, SOG, an acronym, in order to add credence or credibility to whatever bullshit statement that they're about to make. When you first hear that and you think, oh, she's telling a lie. Oh, let me listen closer. Listen, you don't have to listen closer to any of these individuals. It's all lies. They're all lying constantly. You don't have to sit around long. No wonder Malaya never wanted Janie watching the kids. It's funny how different she speaks when she's even speaking about Meadow. So it shows. The fact that they're the ones pushing that narrative is a little little room for doubt in your mind over the reasons why. How is it that they think that they expect to get away with this? The more that they talk, the more that you're going to believe them, hopefully. That's really a little help from Durwood. God, he's such a great friend. Oh, Darren Geddes, such a great fucking friend. Talking about love and Jack and Lily.
No other place that they could search here. The kids are not here. The only search that you could search is out there in the world. I felt comfortable answering your guys' questions because nobody was coming to me all at one time. And as I said, I have nothing to hide. I did my interview. I'm free speech now. As I said, I felt comfortable doing my interview. Everything I'm telling you is what's on my interview.
Yeah, that's the reason why you're saying it out in public. Lee, so Janie raked or didn't rake? Didn't she say that she did on a TV interview and now she's saying no? It bothers me. Well, yeah, that's actually, that's been out for quite some time. Yeah, she did contradict herself. She did come out and say that, no, she wasn't raking in people's live chats. You don't need to believe it or disbelieve it. You need to recognize it for another indicator of deception. But this is a straight out obvious overt lie. So the story that they're giving the RCMP is so flawed and not even close to what has actually happened. Not that we believed it to begin with, because it's just not there. There's no context. There's no beef underneath the patties there. Teresa Miro, the more they talk, the more that we all know they're full of it. Their behinds must be jealous every time they open their mouth and shit comes flying out. Okay. I agree. She's so angry about how this has affected her life. It's disgusting. And she hasn't even left her house yet. So how's it affecting her life? Like, you haven't changed anything at any one point in time. But you don't need to get on her for that. That's Daniel's fault. Why is Danny still at home? Yeah, she has no concern about those kids' prayer. You got that right.
Cheers.
I mean, we're coming up on, is it coming up to 5 months?
Yeah, in the second, so yeah, it's less than 2 weeks.
Like, did you ever imagine that we'd be here still talking about this?
No. I thought with the amount of resources and amount of different units for RCMP working on it, everything from dive teams to canine units and social, they have dedicated teams just for social media. They have dedicated
He's just reciting shit that he hears off of the reports that come down through the CBC and CTV. He's just spinning them and giving her the talking points that he hears on TV. He's not giving us any information directly.
Which just sits there and watches highway cameras. So.
What's it been like for you now that we're back to September, school's back, and seeing the school bus go by every day?
Yeah, no, it's hard. There's quite a few school buses that go by, and there's a lot of kids in the area I see, and it's sad. It's not just sad for Jack and Lily, but it's sad for everybody who knew Jack and Lily.
Well, isn't that just interesting? Why are you sweating? Isn't that interesting? You didn't even like Jack and Lily. Wade says you beat the kids, smacked them around. So did the people at school. That was their concern. But old Danny just had the same excuses publicly as he did to the Children's Aid. There's always a reason why a child has a black eye, isn't there, Dan? Cool J, his own children said he beat Jack and Lily. Well, yeah, they used the ABUSE term. Reportedly. You calling him a shapeshifter, Tambourine? Yeah, he always likes to tell you what you think you want to hear in that moment. I'm a little concerned that you're generalizing all of this nonsensical statements. And you're twisting them, not even getting them right. It's avoiding speaking directly to even your emotions, and that's rather obvious here. God darn it, Victorian7192. Thank you for all you do for Lily and Jack. I appreciate that very much. That's very generous. He's sweating over his own lies? Yeah, there's definitely some cognitive load there. Danny claiming his kids hurt themselves is just disgusting. Well, that's just his mentality. Like, it's like the you made me do this type of thing. It's like, you made me slap you. You made me, your behavior made me discipline you in such a way that it took your lives. No, I think it's a lot further than that. He had a psychological break because of the circumstances that they brought on themselves. Malaya was the first one to bail out of it, and he saw that and sees that as against the rules. And along with everything else, the children were more and more of a bother. The more and more that they fought, the more isolating it was for everybody. And because he was super annoyed from the kids, he was the one who always went and dealt with them. Because really, the kids probably weren't actually doing anything wrong at any one point in time. They were just putting old Danny boy out. Danny, like Nick, what it's sounding like is going on with, what is it? What's Nick's, what is that director's last name? Excuse me. Too many names on my mind. Meathead from All in the Family. Rob Reiner. Nick Reiner did to Rob and his wife. You know, he had a psychological break under the same circumstances. Daniel's in the exact same boat. Similar stresses. In your opinion, Janie and Daniel conned Malaya into thinking that the kids wandered into the woods? You can't say that yet, Ginger Snap, and I don't think so. You have to have a reason why, but I don't think so. There's all kinds of lying going on, and there's a there's a false narrative being portrayed, and Malaya was excuse me, expected to push it. Holy mackerel. Where's my drink? Yeah, I'm not you again. Really what you're saying is his behavior should be resembling something a whole lot different. If something in that sense happened. Hold on. Yeah, I believe so too. There, horsey gone wild. Malaya knows exactly what happened. She knows enough. It could be probably why she got into this mess in the first place. Ginger Snap. I got no doubt that she was constantly being manipulated by Daniel all the time. It just comes with the substance abuse. Like you're living a lie in that sense. That's out of your control. It just is that way. It's not whether it was or not. It was that way. It's that way every single time somebody is in that situation. That's an extreme violation of trust or whatever trust that you had. Reality of it is it was never a good relationship. What complicated things is Meadow. And Meadow, Daniel and Janie saw Meadow as their possession in that sense. That somehow gave them all kinds of magical rights over Malaya and the situation that they were in and where things were going to go in the future. They did deserve better than this. Of course they did. So you really have to go back, and I don't want to go too far back, and I'm not holding it against Belinda or anybody yet because we're still learning things. But it seems things started to go awry and didn't have a real clear direction when she fought. It sounds like she fought to have full custody and to keep Cody out of the kids' lives for whatever reason. And that's where things started to go wrong. I don't blame Cody for that at this point in time. Neither of them probably really had a good handle on what it is that they needed or wanted to do and felt that they had to win a fight in the moment rather than think what's the best step to take for our children that we have. Belinda says Cody still managed to live up to his obligation financially and send payments, which that blows my mind. So I don't know what Cody has to get over, but he should get over it. And I wish he was a lot different. Should he have been different, this probably never would have happened in the first place, but I don't hold that against him. My point with that is that Daniel filled that fucking void, and this is the worst case scenario. The situation probably would never have happened if he had an active father in his life, but that's neither here nor there at this point. I'm just expressing how disappointed I am. Because here Cody pays child support to Malaya, and it's heartbreaking to know that, I don't know the situation. It sounds like he's being made to stay away by and for whatever reason, whether it's legit or not, who knows. But it's heartbreaking to know that he's walking away from 2 children in that sense. I don't know all the details. Derek, I appreciate that. $10. I appreciate that very much. But because they're probably so young, there's all kinds of really stupid reasons involved that go along with being young and reckless to a degree. So somehow, subconsciously, Malaya wants to fill that void. Like, why would you want to cut people who love your children out of the children's lives just for whatever reason? Now, like, there's our reasons, don't get me wrong. I'm happy when, I've got a situation like that as well that I had to, or it just simplified things in the process. But I wasn't at any stage of the game trying to keep my daughter away from anybody. Quite the opposite. But it always seems to be a common thing that people end up using children as pawns in that situation for selfish reasons. And I don't know if that's a factor here, but the point to all of that is it seemed as soon as you take their father out of their lives, Jack and Lily's lives changed drastically. Their needs didn't. Their needs increased. And look at what filled that void. Michelle, you're saying, I think MBM is a runner. She doesn't try to solve anything. Her fight or flight sense kicks in. I think that's probably all non-linear, we'll say eccentric, because of the substance abuse. It's all off kilter. Her fight or flight isn't normal. Ilias, yeah, I don't disagree with that. Malaya maybe have isolated herself and her children in a series of bad choices. Yeah, it doesn't take away from the fact that what was going on in this particular relationship, and it just, the coercive control you see at work. You can hear it in the language when you listen to the old clips of Dirty Dirtwood, Darren Geddes. Like he's going on as though he's investing time in this situation and pretending to be concerned and just a good Samaritan, all while really lying to you in the same breath. Just complete fabrication from Darren Geddes' standpoint, aka Darren and Janie in this circumstance. It's disgusting. Hold on. Snack time. That's some Coca-Cola tonight. You never stop your son from seeing your ex's parents' children, either bio grandparents. Well, it's interesting to me that Belinda mentions how different Malaya became when Daniel got involved, because openly he didn't feel comfortable with the situation. What does that tell you? He's certainly not very accepting of the situation where he's so adamant to be in, where he's going to now have a child with this girl. Like, think about Belinda's interpretation of Daniel's attitude at that time. That says a lot. That says a lot. Usually a person, if your intentions are right, are fairly accepting, well-intentioned, and at least participatory. There's no give or take in this relationship. There's no managing it. It's Daniel really controlling Malaya and saying that, no, that's your old self. You can get away from all of that, and you can ignore that life now and just give me your undivided attention. It's part of the control. He probably doesn't even, like we call it, the part of the control cycle. He doesn't see it as such. It's probably just normal to him. Okay? It's just normal to him. He doesn't know it like that. He's starting to learn. He's going to learn, unfortunately. How controlling if Daniel to feel entitled to not let the kids keep their positive interactions with caring family. Oh yeah, and talk about a big chance to, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because if you're in that situation, sometimes it's nice to have less people around. You know, there's not as much to do. It's not as high paced. Look, you can shop the kids out. You can have them go stay with family for the weekend here and there. Especially that it was a healthy environment as well. So Daniel says to Malaya, or at least Malaya says it, that Daniel said that to him, and I don't doubt that it's true, that he wasn't very comfortable with Malaya coming back to visit with Jack and Lily to their former grandmother's house. Doesn't say any, dude, that's just nothing but 12-year-old jealousy. You're an immature boob in that sense. The fact that you would even say that at that point in time should have been a red flag.